75 of Speak on It. D. That is 3/4 of those things. We were 25 episodes away from 100. How you doing tonight?
My man, it is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you another week. You are very right. We are at episode 75. I don't know the exact offensive lineman or defensive lineman that wore 75. So I'll use this time to say shout out to all the offensive linemen out here who are protecting their quarterback's blind side and or interior or center. Shout out to my centers out here. One of the smartest players on the field.
75 feels like a left tackle number. That feels like a real strong, like you have to go through me to get to my quarterback.
You got to be like an anchor on that offensive line. Like you said,
I played tackle back in the day.
what?
I
Right?
played right tackle. Hold on now. What you trying to
What?
say?
No, I don't want no sauce. I'm just saying because because like we boys. So I'm just saying like you know when someone looks like a left tackle and when someone is a right tackle and you give more right tackle vibes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was a right tackle back in the day. Let's do some housekeeping stuff. We had a packed show tonight, D. But first, as always, this show is brought to you by goingfor2.com. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. Again, the season is here. We are coming on week 5 already. It's kind of crazy that we're almost a quarter of the way done for the year. Again, waiver wire pickups, everything that you need is over at goingfor2.com. Also want to take a moment to shout out one of our sponsors, Underdog Fantasy. Go to underdogfantasy.com and use promo code GF2 and get a deposit match up to $100. Again, go to underdogfantasy.com, use promo code GF2 and get a deposit match up to $100. There's no way you can lose. D, what are we talking about tonight?
My man, my man, my man. It is going to need to be a packed show. We got a lot of things to cover. So, of course, we're going to talk about some takeaways from the week 4 NFL season. We're also going to go back a little bit, dive a little bit further into the Tua Tagovailoa injury from last Thursday night versus the Bengals. We're going to chat a little bit about the top 25 poll in the landscape of college football after, 5 weeks in the college football season now?
Yeah, they're a week ahead of football, so yeah.
Talk about that. And then in our quick hitter section, we're going to have some reactions to last night's Monday Night Football game. Chat a little bit about the Panthers quarterback situation. We got NBA preseason and training camp underway. And then, of course, we'll get into our fantasy talk. And we also got a little baseball talk at the end. So let's start it off, of course, with week 4 in the NFL. Another great week, my man, of a lot of good football, a lot of good storylines coming out of week 4 as well. So, Danny, I'm going to ask you this. We saw the Philadelphia Eagles remain perfect. We saw the Kansas City Chiefs really stampede the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We saw Kenny Pickett make his NFL debut, albeit in a loss. We saw the Green Bay Packers win as ugly of a football game as you can possibly win in the NFL. And we saw another 17-point blown lead by the Baltimore Ravens. So, Danny, I want to ask you, all these different storylines and results coming out of week 4, excuse me. What are some of the takeaways that you want to speak on? What are your 3 takeaways, maybe?
I'm going to pop off a little bit later about the Eagles, but I will say the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in football right now. Like the way they rolled into Tampa Bay, and Tampa's arguably the best defense in the NFL. Like they kicked Tampa's teeth in, and it was early. I texted my homie who was a Chiefs fan, and I was like, "Thank you. I can go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight." Like that's how, like Patrick Mahomes. Like I'm still that dude. Tell Tom he got other fish to fry right now. If anyone's been paying attention to the news, Tom and Giselle hired a divorce lawyer today. Like, hey, dog, don't even worry about this football stuff. I'm the captain now. The Chiefs are
I'm the captain now.
Which is fitting because the Buccaneers, Patrick winning
nice.
Tom, he nice. Like
nice.
No disrespect to my Eagles, but whoo, like that Chiefs offense is just it's on another level.
Like, it's diverse. They can hit you in a few ways. I like Pacheco.
Yeah, Didn't he go to HBCU? Shout out to our HBCUs in these streets. Yeah, Pacheco was. I think he did. Maybe I'm wrong. I know that Buccaneers running back, the guy they drafted this year, went to HBCU. I don't know about Pacheco. My second thing, then the funniest thing, the Lions are the best, worst team I have ever seen in my life. Did you
Man,
know that they are number one in the league in scoring offense and 32nd in the league in scoring defense? They
it's
have the
nasty.
best offense and literally the worst defense, which have made some very entertaining
They're like
games.
they're like the, which is fitting because Dan Campbell is the coach. They're like those 2013 to 2012 to 2014 NFL. I mean, not NFL, New Orleans Saints. They're just
Yes,
really
like
good
they
on offense,
just
and they were just nasty on defense. You were just like, "Yo, what is this?"
like you are. I just
I don't
I've
get
never
it.
seen. Yeah, like if they could play an ounce of defense, the Lions would make the playoffs, which is a wild ass thing to say under his second year. Like if they were like the 25th ranked defense in the league, they will win a majority of their games and they'd get a wild card berth.
You feel bad because their defensive coordinator is a black dude who formerly played in the NFL, and you kind of was rooting for him after Hard Knocks, and that was like, "Hey, yo, dog, you got
You,
about
you
you got
got two
about
games, champ.
yeah, I was gonna say you got 2 more weeks to figure it out, big dog, before it's
For we giving somebody because it can't get much worse than 32nd.
yeah."
My last thing,
They can always
my
be
most
33rd.
say what?
They can always be 33rd.
My last thing, I tried to tell all you MFers that the New Orleans Saints were going to be booty cheeks. And that's exactly what they've been this entire season. I know you're going to talk about injuries and Jameis and Kamara and Michael Thomas. I told you that the
They're
Saints
their
were
top
going
four
to
players.
suck. Even if they were there, they would still suck. The Saints are garbage. Howie Roseman is a genius. Fleece them for that first round pick. If the draft started tomorrow, the Eagles will have the third pick in the draft. Shout out to you, Howie. The Saints are garbage. I told y'all they would be garbage. Ain't nothing to see here. Chris Olave is the truth. I have him in fantasy. He saved me a couple times this year. But don't even worry about the Saints. They garbage. Don't put them on TV ever again.
Well, as I heard recently, if was a fifth, we'd be drunk. So
Thank
we
you.
we have 17 weeks before we know where the Philadelphia Eagles are taking the New Orleans Saints draft pick. So let's pump the brakes there. I can say that I think we're rushing the. I want to be a little lenient on New Orleans Saints. They're not a bad football team. They've lost some pretty close games, and they're missing a lot of their top horses. So you got to give them that. Uh, it's just like you wouldn't be saying this if the Eagles were losing games without Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and AJ Brown. You'd
The
be like,
best
hey, yo, dog.
ability is availability. And Jameis and Michael Thomas have been hurt a whole lot recently,
Well, one blew out his knee, and the other one has a crack in his vertebrae.
which sucks, but my point still remains.
So a couple of my big takeaways. Number one, I'm really, really confused about the Arizona Cardinals. I'm really
Yes.
confused. Are they a good bad team, or are they a good team, or are they a bad good team?
I don't
Right?
know.
Because when they're hitting, they're a really good team.
I think for them it's Nuke, right? I think Nuke is so unique to that offense that missing him. Like he takes an entire side of the field away. Like from a defensive standpoint, like you have to pour so many resources into containing Nuke. Now you can be more. What do you got? Zach Ertz, James Conner, and Marquise Brown and
Mhm.
Dortch.
Well, Marquise Brown is a fine wide receiver. Zach
I
Ertz
mean,
is
yeah,
well,
if Nuke
position.
is on the other side, but as the number one, we know what Marquise Brown is as the number one receiver.
That's interesting. My second takeaway, man, how do I say this? Uh, we may have a slight quarterback controversy in Dallas.
Really, you're there.
I think I'm not there fully because I still lean on the fact that Dak makes close to $40 million a year, so he should be the starting quarterback. But man, you really got to hope that Dak is able to, which I believe he will. He's able to come back and keep this offense grooving because these guys are rolling right now. And man, I'll tell you what, that NFC East.
Talk to me.
That 2-3-1 teams, a 4-0 team, and a 1-3 team.
Yes, only division with 3 teams that have 3 or more wins.
Washington, man, it is bad. What y'all are putting on the offensive football field is not good, particularly at the offensive line position. Actually, only at the offensive line position.
Can we put a pin there for? Can we put a pin there for a second to talk about the Commanders? For the people on Twitter, please follow me. I found a fan-made video. Some guy in DC made a rap song that is hailing the Commanders and it is paying tribute to the Commanders. In the whole song, like it's supposed to talk about how good they are, but the lyrics, if you listen to it, he just talks about how good they were in the past. It is the funniest shit I have seen in a very long time. I'm going to post.
He got to get his shit off. Yeah, no, shout out to my man.
I mean, the beat was hard, and his lyrics weren't that bad, but
yeah, you know, from DC, you gotta have that East Coast energy. Shout out to my DC folks.
If you have to make a song about your team, you've already lost.
Nah, you can't be talking. You're an Eagles fan.
We don't. There's no Eagle fan that has a rap song about the Eagles. That is a gutter franchise. That is a poverty franchise through and through.
Don't do that.
Is there? You got any rap
songs? I was in
the
gutter too for a while before y'all became good. By the way,
still didn't have anyone making a rap song. Like, is there any rap song about the? I'd love to see Meek Mill.
Probably outside of Meek, there were other rappers in Philly besides Meek.
Not like this. You watch it tonight and get back to me.
My third and final takeaway, and Gator J kind of alluded to it in the comments here. He said, injuries. Are they not doing enough in the offseason or during the week? I don't know the answer to that question, but another one of my biggest takeaways was injuries, man. It's so unfortunate. I know football is one of the most violent sports, and it's essentially like putting your body through 60 minutes of endless car crashes. And injuries is tough, especially when you know that some of these injuries could cost these guys a lot of time, a lot of money potentially. It's just unfortunate. So, which I guess kind of leads us, really into our next topic, which came last Thursday night, which is probably one of the bigger storylines, probably coming out of week 4, really. So in the Dolphins-Bengals game last Thursday, we saw Tua take a really, really hard hit. Ultimately, really it resulted in a concussion. This was after this is like 4 days after we saw that really, really hard hit versus the Bills, where he kind of stumbled. They said it was back injury. You saw kind of how that hit kind of landed how he kind of landed after that hit on last Thursday. And it's really kind of questioned the NFL's concussion protocol. It's clear that this protocol is really not figured out. So Danny, I really kind of want to get your opinion here on, do you think there's a real finite way to really fix the issue here that we have with the concussion protocol and making sure it's being enforced properly and really helping protect our players?
It has to come down to hiring neurologists that are truly independent of the league, right? Because we all know that, I don't think it's a secret that team doctors are paid by the teams, and the team doctor's job is to get the player back on the field as fast as possible. And sometimes that means taking shortcuts and putting them at risk for further or more intense injuries. I think the NFL is going to have to really invest in hiring like true independent neurologists who can do these tests safely in the locker room or on the sideline. And the teams are going to have to respect what that neurologist says, right? So if that neurologist comes back and says this person has a concussion, that's it. Like their word is law almost. And there also going to have to be significant penalties for people that break concussion protocol, right? So in regards, I'm talking about extensive fines, loss of draft picks and not like a 6th-round pick. Like Miami already lost their 1st-round pick this year because they were trying to not cheat. They were talking to Tom Brady when he wasn't a free agent. Like that's the kind of punishment we're talking about. Like we need 1st-round draft pick strip. We need millions of dollars in fines if a team decides to go against this independent neurologist, and maybe to the point where and I don't know how this would happen, like if the independent neurologists were able to tell the umpire crew, like, hey, Tua has a concussion. He is not allowed back in the game. And if he does try to get back in the game, like the game stops until Tua leaves. Like there will be no football played until the person in question is gone.
Do you think then that type of protocol, because you can already imagine they're trying to keep it, I guess it's hard. I guess my question really, what do you do in the sense of when you see a team really picking up the tempo, they're clearly picking up the pace, and maybe you're seeing someone who's a little wobbly, but you don't know because you don't want to stop the tempo of the offense. What do you say to those who kind of question that? Because that's a big portion of it too, with some of the game speed at which these offenses are moving.
So for that, so are you saying how do we know someone's not faking it to slow the game down?
No, not that, but like,
okay.
How do you find that finite place to really see if someone's even questionable in a situation of like a 2-minute or a faster offense?
That is the referee's job to make sure that everyone is safe. So if a referee thinks someone may have a concussion, blow the whistle, stop the clock, and get that player off the field for a play. Or I know in boxing they ask you like, what's your name? What day is it? Where are you? Like something basic to like look that person in the eye and determine from there. But you would rather have that than a Tua situation where there's potential of someone dying on the field because of someone else's negligence.
I agree, and I also think we have to find. Listen, I know the NFL is probably one of our most popular sports in the country, and there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of just money on the field, money in advertising. There has to be a way to really. I think there has to be a way to really start partnering with local hospitals. I think if you can partner with local hospitals and get at least be able to have a neurologist on staff that can always work these games, in that case, they should be able to be independent just off the fact that they're a hospital. They want the best for everyone in care. And so, you can have a neurologist work on the sideline with, honestly, I would say hiring another, with conjunction of adding another maybe referee whose sole job is searching for people who are for players or looking for players who maybe exhibit some sort of concussion-like symptoms, mixing them that power for every game. I think it may be costly, but it's what they need.
Yeah, the NFL needs to make it. And to Gator J's point, he says there's someone in the press box that's their job, looking for that.
Okay, so they have. Thank you, Gator J. So I think maybe then you partner with the local hospitals that you would normally take an athlete to in the case of a head injury like this, having them sit with the person in the press box and maybe conjoining those powers. That way, it's not a team doctor. It's truly like a neurologist.
The league has to wrap this up because again, like we got lucky with Tua, but it's inevitable, right? Like someone's going to die, whether on the field or in the hospital, and then that's something the league can't come back from. That is something that would take the league down if someone died because of someone else's negligence.
And I think after that Thursday night game, especially because if you saw the way kind of threw him down. Tua is not the biggest of quarterbacks. He's not a Josh Allen. So you're not gonna throw him around. So when Mans swung him, he threw him like, you know what I'm saying? It was a serious hit, and man, it was a clean hit too. So
yeah, like it wasn't dirty. It was a normal football hit, and it was just tragic the way it happened. Like it's just sad, and I think I forgot the guy he was an old WWE wrestler. He's now like a doctor, a neurologist. He was on Dan Le Batard's show. Like he was saying like, and I've read today another neurologist was like, "Yo, Tua needs to retire. Like 2 concussions in under a week, like that's a wrap. Like you need to call it a career." I mean, Tua's not. I don't think he is. We don't know, but the fact that we're talking about Tua, who was 23, hasn't gotten his first big contract yet. Like there's a slim chance, but there's a chance he might have to call it a career because the Dolphins wanted him to play against the Bengals. Like that's a lawsuit. Like, that is a legit. I can sue the Dolphins for negligence, and anyone who knows what's happening with the Dolphins right now, like they're in shambles in regards to things of that nature. That's the last thing that team needs is a lawsuit for negligence.
Yeah, and I didn't even fully think about some of those details, but that's a great point. I mean, and it was in the matter of like 4 days, so it was
Yeah.
really together. So it's funny that not funny, but it's intriguing enough. They've already ruled them out for week 5, I believe.
Yeah, he's out next week.
And I was like, of course he's out for week 5, but like, is he going to be back? Period.
I don't know. I'm not from what I'm reading from other neurologists, it sounds like Tua is going to be out. If the Dolphins are being honest about this, Tua is going to be out for a very long time.
Has to be.
He has
Which
to be.
does that change the course of like this offense? Not to shift this away, but like I shouldn't say this offense. Does that change the course of the team? They were obviously off to a really hot start now. They've lost the game. They are going to have to shift the offense, is what I was trying to say. They're going to have to shift the offense to fit Teddy Bridgewater, but they built this offense around Tua and being able to push the ball downfield to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So, I mean, we saw that Teddy could throw it, but when throws, they was taking his alarm, boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. For that, either you're going to have to change your game to a lot of quick passes and getting Waddle and Tariq in space and relying on a bunch of yak, or you explore the trade market if you think you're in a position to win now, or if you're hearing from Tua, he's thinking about calling a career, maybe you hit the trade market and see if you can find a backup with a strong arm that can kind of push the ball down the field.
Yeah, it would be so unfortunate to see him call it a career, but you could kind of understand, like,
yeah.
Very, very unfortunate against the Bengals in week 4.
Just had to play the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Couldn't wait. Couldn't hold back.
They were chasing that undefeated records. In the chat, they said, so we were earlier talking about rap songs about the Eagles. Jamie says we have Eagles, put your hands up. He also says there's a bunch of Eagles rap songs out here. So, Danny, you're about to be wrong, and I want to pull all the receipts. So, Jamie also says Nobody Beats the Birds by Bruce Williams. Man, Jamie, he's pulling out some receipts for you, Danny.
Yeah.
He's applied for the research position on at Speak Space on Space It. Shout out Gator J. And Jamie said the wrestler you were talking about was a wrestler named Nowinski.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so staying in the realm of football, but let's actually shift it to college football, actually. So the latest top 25 AP poll came out right before the NFL games on Sunday. And it's funny enough that there's a lot of depth between the Power 5 conferences. Obviously, we know about Cincinnati's in there, BYU's in there, maybe one or two more, either Group of 5 or independent. But I want to focus on the Power 5. So we know the big dogs, the SEC, they have 7 in the top 25. Of course.
As they should.
The Big 10 has 3 teams in the top 10 with Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. But I want to dive into some of these other conferences, right? The ACC, my friend, has 4 teams in the top 25. So we know Clemson, they handled their business mightily versus NC State. They're looking like a good Clemson team. But we also have NC State, Wake Forest, and Syracuse.
Syracuse football.
Now, I think NC State has kind of proven themselves. They're a quality top 25 team. They're lead by defense. Devin Leary, their quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I think they're clearly just not as good as Clemson, but you can see they're trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Wake Forest in the ACC championship game last year. This quarterback, I mean, he's kind of legit, yo.
Yeah. Did you watch that Clemson game with Wake Forest? He was slinging. He was throwing it.
They couldn't guard him.
Yeah,
They couldn't
like
guard him.
he was a problem.
Oh man, what's up, Gerson? I see you in the chat. It says it's
Welcome
been a
back,
minute.
G.
Hope all has been well. God bless you, my friend. So the ACC, so Wake Forest, quality team. You see what they're about. You see that they took Clemson to the last all they can handle, and I imagine they're going to give. It's going to be a really good game between Wake Forest and NC State. But Syracuse is in here, and I believe they haven't lost a game yet, or maybe they've lost. So they
I
haven't
don't think
lost.
they have. Let me see.
They might be undefeated.
Syracuse Orange. Let's see.
I think.
Yeah, they are. They are undefeated.
Yeah, they are undefeated. I think they're 5-0. So the ACC has 4 teams and quality teams here. Now let's shift it to the Pac-12, who has 5 teams in the top 25. So we know about Southern Cal. We know about Utah.
Yep.
We know about Oregon, who's been kind of bouncing back ever since.
They've been on fire since that beat down to Georgia. Like Bo Nix has found himself.
So yeah, we see Oregon's on the come up. Now here are 2 teams. I don't know if the world's been watching. UCLA, Chip Kelly.
Fucking Chip
Kelly. Got a nice quarterback. They got a decent offense. Yeah, they got something on the other side of Southern Cal in LA. They might have some. And Washington, I thought the whole Michigan State win was a fluke. Apparently they're good. Granted,
apparently the quarterback is in the Heisman conversation right now.
Really?
Yeah, like I watched some of that. Yo, he is nice.
Better than Jake Browning, you think?
No, he nice, but
Gerson says they also have a good running back as well.
Like Washington, who would have? But you know what? The last time we had Washington in these streets,
yep.
What happened? They flew across the country and Georgia sent them back.
Man, that game was in Atlanta. They flew all them folks from Seattle to Atlanta on a direct flight. It was on the red eye, teary eye, drunk, lit, ready. And Bama sent them back 2 days later. Maybe not even that.
Was it Georgia or was it Bama?
One of the two. It could have been Georgia.
I think it was Bama.
Could have been Georgia, Bama.
Either way, they got sent home.
They got beat down. Now, let me tell you about the conference that I really wanted to dive into because it's interesting here. The Big 12 that has 4 teams, 4 of them things in the top 25. So we expect Oklahoma State. They're a really good team. They've remained a really good team. Listen to this. TCU's in here. Kansas State is in here. And Kansas is in the top.
Let's go.
How did Kansas reach the top 25 before Virginia Tech is a question I've been asking myself since Saturday. But, Danny, what do you make of what's going on in the Big 12 right now?
So before we go there, it's also important to know that Oklahoma is not in the top 25, which is just as shocking as Kansas being in the top 25 because Oklahoma and neither is Texas. But College Game Day will be at Kansas. Last week, I said that the AP poll, stop being cowards, put Kansas in the top 25. Kansas beat Duke on Saturday. I actually watched some of that game. Yeah, Kansas looks kind of scary. And also, I watched the TCU game. I think, who did TCU play? Was that Oklahoma they played?
Yes.
Yeah, they played Oklahoma. And the Oklahoma QB got knocked out. But even before he was knocked out, TCU came and was like, yo, we here, which is kind of crazy.
That was a dirty hit, too. I didn't like that hit.
That was a real dirty hit. And a little fight broke out afterwards. I think one of the offensive linemen came out and just like, and dude got ejected. I do remember that. Yeah, it's exciting that Kansas is a basketball school. It still is, but it's nice to see the football team get some love because they've been the doormat of the country for like the past 10 years.
You see, they got some prop lines out for who the celebrity gets.
We got people betting on Kansas football in 2022.
No, betting on who the celebrity guest picker for College Game Day will be.
Oh, what are the odds? Do you know?
I don't have the odds right in front of me, but I saw one name on there. There's like a 2% chance. It was Joel Embiid.
Oh, will the Sixers be? Will they have a preseason game? Hold on, because they played last night. So that means they'll probably play Friday, which might give Joel. So they have preseason tomorrow and then Monday. So yeah, he's free Wednesday to Monday. That's not a bad bet.
Some of the other names I saw on there are like, oh, I forgot. I just didn't know who they were, but Joel Embiid was the one I was like, I think they put money on that, but
Yeah, that's not a
I'm not going
bad.
to. Gersa says he hopes Ben Simmons is there. Ben Simmons went to LSU. He would have no affiliation. It would be probably the most random appearance ever.
No,
Honestly, it
he's
would
saying
be.
he wants Joel and Ben on TV at the same time in the same space.
It's funny because we'll talk about NBA preseason later.
Okay.
All right, so sticking in the realm of football, let's shift it back. Shift it back to the NFL. So we saw him last night, Monday Night Football.
Yes, sir.
Rams versus 49ers. Why can't the Rams beat the Niners in the regular season?
Nobody knows. I will say this though. You were talking about Cooper Rush in the beginning. The Cooper Rush show about to end because the Rams play the Cowboys on Sunday after losing to the 49ers. A-Dog, be careful because Aaron Donald might tattoo that boy into the ground. It's
Well,
going to
Dak
be
come back.
Dak not coming back. Jerry said today Dak can't even grip a ball right now. Dak going to try to come back Sunday night against Philadelphia. He's going to get his ass swamped. Pause. But we're going to talk about that next week. This week,
Hey, yo!
well, I meant
Whoa!
to say stomped, but the W came out and said,
Whoa!
my bad.
Nah, that's okay. All righty. Whoa, is that the type of time you're on, sir?
No, there's supposed to be a T, not a W.
Nah, I hear
That's
you. Nah, I
my
hear you.
bad.
Yeah, nah, I hear you.
But the Cooper Rush show ends on Sunday.
You think so?
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say about this game last night. Debo Samuel. Whew, he a problem, man.
Glad I drafted him.
He a problem, man. Yo, I'm just sitting there and it's like it'll be 6 players around, 2 of them will get blocked, and he just shakes off the other, like the other ones just can't guard him. I'm like, yo, y'all wrap up tackle. It don't even matter. He just gets right through him. Pause. Yo, what a legitimate NFL player. I don't even know what the wide back. I mean, he is one of one. Rams, yo, shout out to the folks out here who definitely knew that Cooper Cup would be thrown to just as many times this year as he was last year because yo, newsflash folks, Cooper Cup may be the greatest wide receiver ever, for one. Two, he is a problem for DB on
Yes.
a nightly basis. They are in hell having to cover him for 60 minutes. Yo, he is a great route runner. He attacks balls, pause when they are thrown. Like he comes back to footballs and he bails the quarterback out. He's willing to go up and make the hard catches. I mean, yo, he's really, really good. And he's shifty with it too.
I was about to say the crazy thing about him is there aren't many slot corners, if any slot corners, because he plays out the slot that can keep up with him, right? Because like you said, he's shifty and he's fast and he has a great release and he can fight through the press and he can go get balls. Pause. Speaking, you know what we should do? We should have a pause counter every week. And every time there's a pause moment, like there's a bell and we just ring and we just keep count of the pauses that happen. Pause. Like ding,
Oh man, ding,
ding.
ding. It's funny because I remember my 12, the only 12 team league that I'm in. I was sitting there and I had like pick 6, and Cooper Cup was just sitting there, and I literally was like, God, what are we doing here? We can't just. I literally told him like I was like, yo, I have to take him because like I'm not gonna let this type of talent just pass by.
No,
But what are y'all doing?
they want you to win.
Man, I can tell you right now that team is so wide receiver heavy. I mean, I'll tell you what. Last week I almost considered starting both running backs from the Texans backfield because
Oh gosh.
that's all I have. I mean, I luckily randomly drafted Tyler Algier, so I might play him this week. But We know how confident I am about that because they're playing the Bucks after
What?
that
What's your record
beatdown.
in that league?
4-0.
The zero RB strategy.
I mean,
It's working.
it is. I have Lamar at quarterback. I got
Okay.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I got Christian Kirk. I got Cooper Cup. Um, I might have Tyreek Hill. I don't know.
That's a hell of a roster.
Tyreek Hill. It's a good roster. All right. Speaking of roster management, the Carolina Panthers said they're sticking with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, even if Sam Darnold is healthy. I just want to know: is this a good thing or is this a bad thing?
Let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
Would you rather eat a rotten apple or a rotten banana?
A
Because that's
banana.
what you're getting. Like, you pick whatever you want. Like one is the rotten apple, one is the rotten banana. Dog, I do not know how Matt Rule is still employed by the Carolina Panthers. Like the amount of patience they have shown this man. He's like 1-29.
No
Bro, like
way. No way.
like
No, no
can
way.
someone research
No,
Matt
he
Rule's
is
record
not
the
one
past
in
2 years?
29. I'm not, I gotta look this up because
Look up his record the past 2 years. I bet you he hasn't won 4 games.
he's 11-26, 1-29. He is
That's close.
11-26.
What about the last 2 years? Like all of last year and this year, what's his record? 11-26. Thank you, G.
11 and 2. He went 5-11. He went 5-12, and he's 1-3. 11
Okay,
and
so he's won 6 games in the past 12 months. That is a win every 2 months. Dog. Panther fans, enjoy Christian McCaffrey while you can, because you're
Woo!
gonna be in the gutter for a very long time. You're
Yo,
going to
so
be
you don't who do you blame more? The lack of quality quarterback play or the lack of quality coaching?
it starts with coaching. Dog, Matt Rule keeps thinking he's going to shine a piece of crap and it's going to be gold. No, dog. There's a reason the Jets are like, hey, yo, you want Sam Darnold? Are you sure? Yo, complete this trade before before the adult comes back in the room and ask him what the hell he doing. Same with Baker Mayfield. Are you sure? Is this his kid on the phone? Are you really Matt Rule? Because this is insane. Like he keeps.
What I think is funny is when the Panthers made the announcement they were trading for Baker Mayfield, everyone in the sports world just laughed. Like, yo, what? Are you
What are
serious?
we doing here? I don't
Like,
know, man.
I don't, I, I, I don't really understand.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
DJ. You deserve better.
it's okay. I mean, pretty soon they'll have DJ Yui Ungulale.
I hope DJ deserves better than that.
Pretty soon. Staying in football. So it came out, and I think you mentioned it earlier that Tom Brady he missed some time last in the preseason for some needed family time. I think he just came out today that he's hiring divorce lawyers. Tom, it all makes sense now, my brother. And you know what? I'm riding with you on your retirement tour, brother.
Really, that's there's something very unique about the Tom and Giselle breakup that is on the horizon. We do realize that Giselle is the breadwinner in that house, right? Like we think
Yeah,
Tom Brady is rich. No, 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 no. Giselle is the breadwinner. Tom Brady's money is play money.
yeah. Go get half my money, King.
Oh, that's where you at?
Go get your money, King.
I saw a tweet, and this was the funny. It was like Tom Brady chose the Panthers over Giselle. Like he decided, I want to play the Panthers twice a year, than be with Giselle.
Hey,
Tom,
Hey, he can go for
Tom.
7. He can go for 7. And if that means he's got to go to Carolina one time and go to Atlanta one time and go to New Orleans one time, and they all got to come to Tampa Bay one time, and maybe I got to go play Aaron Rodgers one time. Maybe I got to play Patrick Mahomes one more time. But I
Let
can
me tell
get
you.
closer to number 7. I was this close from winning last year, and that team who beat me went on to win, and we were this close to beating them.
Let me tell you something. If my wife, in a hypothetical world, if my wife made 300 million and I made 35 million, and I've won and accomplished as much as Tom said, and she says, "All right, baby, it's time to come home." Hey,
He can
we
get to 7.
we going home.
He can get to 7. That's one more than Jordan. Right? That's
Tom,
what they care about now.
I,
That's what all
I, I, dog, I hope that Saints throw pillow keep you warm at night.
he's Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's true. He is Tom Brady.
He's still, hey, Tom Brady. You see the new face he got? He gonna be out in these streets figuring things out.
He won facelift away from being Jim Carrey.
Hey, yo, I ain't seen a Mask movie in years. You might be onto something. Shifting the focus to basketball. Oh well, Gerson said actually, who the hell hires Ben McAdoo to run their offense?
The
Who?
Panthers.
Oh yeah, no wonder it all makes sense. DJ Moore, you're in hell. He also said Tom Brady's not retiring now that he's divorced. He chose football over Giselle.
He 45. It's around. He ain't playing till 50.
You're 46.
He's 46.
No, I was saying that. No, he's 46.
Oh, okay. Rest in peace, Teddy Ray.
Teddy Ray, rest in peace. Now, but shifting the focus over to basketball, Danny, the NBA preseason and training camp is underway. Games are going on right now. I saw Jalen Brunson make his first bucket as a New York Knick.
That hurt.
So, with that being said, who are some of the players that you're interested in seeing taking that next step of greatness that does not play for the Dallas Mavericks or Los Angeles Lakers?
I'm gonna kind of cheat on this question. The first one is, did you see Ben Simmons turnaround last night?
Turn around, fadeaway.
Yes, he tried a turnaround fadeaway last night, and it ended exactly how you expected. My
Well,
brother,
you haven't that shot though.
My brother, you've been in the lab for 2 years.
You want him taking that shot though.
2 years you've been in the lab.
You want him feeling comfortable enough where he can take that shot. So I can't hate on that.
Second thing, he got the word him tattooed on his hand. Ja Morant, it's time.
It's time.
Like and then last thing, Zion. I am so excited to see Zion. Like, if Zion is healthy and looks like he's lost some weight, looks like he's taking things seriously.
Toned. You see him a little bit more toned.
The Pelicans are going to be a problem.
Yeah. I like so piggybacking off of you, I really like Zion what the Pelicans are going to be able to do. I think the evolution, not only Zion but Brandon Ingram. I think what he's able, if he's able to really take that next step, the Pelicans are going to be a really, really, really good team. Another player I like is Scotty Barnes, seeing what he's going to be able to do for the Toronto Raptors and where he's going to be able to take his game entering year 2, coming off of being Rookie of the Year. I think if he's able to take that step that we see a player take from year 1 to year 2, I mean, you're talking about with the mix of Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. You're talking about a Toronto team who could actually be right back in the mix of where they were maybe 2-3 years ago. And wouldn't it be sweet if they ended another Warriors dynasty? I'm here for it.
You know what I think if Scotty Barnes takes that step, I think you might see Siakam get traded.
Why?
Because they play the same position.
Do they? I thought Siakam was the 4, Scotty was the 3.
I mean, they can enter, like they're the Torontos, and this is another pause. They're just a bunch of long wing defenders who can switch outside of VanVleet.
So that's why wouldn't you keep both and figure out a way to allow both of them to that way you have the big 3.
I mean, how much is Pasco making right now? Because he got paid a couple years ago.
He got paid, but they also paid VanVleet, so they got money. I'm saying Scotty can be the third of their big 3, and they build around those 3.
Yeah, Pascal's making 29 million. Yeah, he's only 28. I thought he was a little bit older. Yeah, you might be able to keep him. Pascal is 6'8". Scotty Barnes is 6'7". Yeah.
Telling you. I'm telling you. And my third player would be Desmond Bain from the Memphis Grizzlies. I
Okay.
think, everyone obviously talks about Ja Morant and rightfully so, but I think Desmond Bain, we saw when Ja was out for that little bit of time, he obviously took that step up, and obviously from 3 point range, he's deadly. So I'm very interested in seeing where not only he but the Grizzlies are going to be able to take their success from last year. They were second in the league and records, I mean overall records. So and very interested to see where the Grizzlies go from here. I mean, they got the Warriors on Christmas night, so
Hey.
well they go to the Warriors on Christmas night. Let me give the champs their just due. Did you see Steph Curry on Peyton and Eli last night?
I caught a couple of minutes of it. I enjoy Peyton and Eli when it's just those two. When they bring guests on, it's not for me. The product just isn't good, especially if it's
Well,
not like a football player. Like the Tracy Morgan one last week was hilarious because Tracy was just talking about he blended every area of John's football together. Like Jalen was a good interview. Steph was okay, and then I kind of turned the game off.
John Hamm was you can tell he was more actor than anything, but I did enjoy Steph Curry being on there. I could tell that it's so interesting. I think athletes or us as athletes, we just if you're a fan of sports, you're a fan of just learning the games. You can tell he was, especially with the sheriff and Eli in there. So you're learning the game from two very very elite minds. Even that short period of time, you can tell he was soaking it in some and. I like listening to Peyton and Eli. You can tell they're seeing it through the quarterback's eyes, and so I'm not coming here and say that every week, but I mean, I usually watch like the first 5 minutes with Troy and Joe, and then
Yeah.
shift over to Peyton and Eli. It's good stuff over there. It's good stuff over there. All right, so a little unorthodox topic, but we have to make sure we spoke on this. So Aaron Judge ties the American League record with home runs last week. And the son of Roger Merritt, who he tied the American League record with, basically came out and was like, that's the real record, yada, yada. And him and other baseball purists still act like Barry Bonds' record does not exist. Why do they hate greatness?
Because they think he cheated. I'll say this: you're more of a baseball guy than I am. ESPN, I swear for everything. If you ruin my Saturday one more time, transitioning to when Aaron Judge is at bat, I'm going to cancel my subscription. That is the most annoying. If I wanted to watch Aaron Judge chase this record, I would watch the Yankees game. I want
Well,
to
they're
watch. I wanted to watch TCU in Oklahoma. I don't care.
true. So fair enough, and I agree with you there. I think they're trying to help bring eyes to the MLB. I think what's going wrong is teams are intentionally now trying to walk Aaron Judge because
Yeah.
no pitcher wants to be the pitcher that gave up the record breaking home run. So now he's just getting walked. So if you're ESPN, now you're getting negative backlash because you're showing these at bats, but they're just walking, and you're not going to tell a pitcher to hey stop intentionally walking him, give him some balls. So you know.
And like when LeBron is getting close to Kareem's record, like are we gonna cut in? And again, I know baseball's a little bit slower and you can come back and forth, but like once LeBron is within 3 points of Kareem's record, like are we just gonna keep a picture in picture until he breaks it? Like that's
Yes.
annoying to someone who doesn't care about the NBA.
Well, you gonna care today. And that's what they said. You're gonna care today and you're gonna hush and you're gonna take this narcotic.
You gonna take this narcotic?
Yeah.
That's almost another pause moment.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Relax. Relax. All right, Danny, the game will be on ABC. Okay. So Danny,
Okay.
so I know you wanted to talk about this earlier, so now I want to open up the floor. The Eagles
Yes,
last week
sir.
had a very, very big win in a slugfest versus the Jaguars and Doug Peterson's return to Philly. So I want to give you the floor and allow you to elaborate on what's your thoughts on the game and what are you thinking about this team after the first month?
I will do that. Garrison, you said that it's not a record. Y'all on balls or juice. Are you trying to say that Barry Bonds' record does not exist, or are you saying that you don't care about Aaron Judge's record?
I
Let's
think the
talk about
latter.
the. Yeah, I think so too. Let's talk about these Philadelphia Eagles. Last week I said I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to shut my mouth until they beat a team that's decent. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, it was raining. Well, it was raining for the Eagles too. And Jalen threw a pick six, and they were down 14 nothing. And then they decided to run the ball, and they put 200 yards on the number one run defense in the NFL. I was extremely impressed. And that's after losing two offensive starters on the offensive line. That's after Darius Slay hurt his forearm. It was out. Monte Maddox, our slot corner, was out. They did this. It just speaks to the Eagles' depth and how Howie Roseman has turned this roster around quickly. Jalen, I was wrong. I was out here ramping for Russell Wilson. I was wrong. I'll take my medicine on that. Jalen,
I remember saying something mad
yeah,
similar.
you were saying stick with Jalen, and you were right. Listen, man, he is extremely impressive. He had this line, like you can tell when he speaks to him, he had this line, rain, sleet, or snow, the Eagles are trained to go. And the dudes in the locker room, like, yeah, man, hey, go to Arizona on Sunday. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I'd love to see how this defense handles above average passer in dry conditions. Like that's the next test, right? You can handle Trevor Lawrence in the rain. Can you handle Kyler Murray in the desert when he's, the water is not a factor?
So I guess the question for you is, now that you see your team is 4-0, at how many wins do you guys really, really start chasing an undefeated record?
So now that it's 17 games, it's got to be week 13, 14, right? Because right now we got Arizona, then Dallas, then a bye week, then Pittsburgh. Listen, all I want Dallas to come in, and I want Dak to be back. Like I want Dak to be out this week. I want him to come back in 2 weeks as healthy as possible, and I want the Eagles to crucify him in front of God in America on Sunday Night Football.
That is not Los D Mix who says that.
That is me. That is like because I don't want to
I
hear anything. Because if the Eagles beat Cooper Rush, it's going to be, well, it was just Cooper Rush, even though they ride Cooper Rush to the heaven right now. I want Dak Prescott to be healthy. I want Dak Prescott on Sunday night in Philadelphia, and I want the Eagles to crucify him. Not literally, like I don't want them to hurt him, but I want them to beat the Cowboys so bad that
wait.
Chris Collins.
Is that going to be the
That
Sunday
is the
night?
Sunday night game.
Man,
I want them to beat Dallas
not
so
the
bad
yearly
that
Dallas.
Chris Collinsworth starts lusting for Trayvon Diggs' mama again.
Hey, yo, can you relax?
That's how bad
Jamie,
I
thank
want
you
them to
for
be.
giving us another Eagles rap song. No One Likes Us, Fly Eagles Fly by Go Go Gadget
We get your
2018.
we get your point, Jamie. Thank you.
Oh,
But
bro.
that doesn't change anything I said about the Commander song. Nothing. That franchise is in the gutter.
Oh, man. Yo, shout out to my DC fans out here. Y'all, I love this uniform y'all was rocking.
That's the only thing you got.
Might be. So while I can't go in depth about the Philadelphia Eagles, I can go in depth about the Green Bay Packers and our Week 4 victory over the New England Patriots. So, how can I say this? We struggled with a third string quarterback, but not the defense, the offense. The offense struggled to play complementary football, and we still figured out a way to win. I was watching Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee Tuesday. He has a lot of confidence in what the future development of Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson can be, which has me excited. If Aaron is excited,
You're excited.
your boy excited. He says he hopes to see, and he said this, he hopes to really see the big jump between, through the progression of year one, and the jump from year one to year two, and then the big jump from year two to year three. He said that verbatim. And I said, okay, year two.
Okay.
I said year one, year two, year two, year three, huh? Okay. Write this down. No, but Bill Belichick, I think he came in the game wanting his normal game plan to taking away your best player and making someone else beat you. And so I think he really tried the game plan on taking away the run, which kind of was bottled up, kind of wasn't. We were able to make plays at the end to get us the win. And I guess in the NFL, where jobs are won and lost by wins and losses, you got to take the wins with the losses.
Got to take the wins. That's going to matter in January.
You're right. It can help you get a playoff tie-breaking seed or something. You never know. You never know. Speaking of tiebreakers and playoffs, Danny, you know what time it is.
This
time to do our fantasy league chat. All right.
Do you want to start on redraft? Or you want to start on dynasty?
Well, we got a couple redraft, dynasty league folks in here, so we can start with the dynasty league. And I'm happy to do my weekly report read from the dynasty league. So again, people, Danny and I are in 2 leagues together, a 10-team dynasty league and a 10-team redraft league. I am the commissioner of both. So for our dynasty league, format is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 3 flexes, and 2 independent defensive players. I said that off the top of my head. I hope I'm right. So let's get into it. So the best team this week was Rojo Truther with 184.4 points. The worst team was Bam with 109.9 points. Unfortunately,
it's crazy because he's not here tonight. I wonder why.
A couple of players we got to shout out: Patrick Mahomes, Austin Eckler, Mike Evans, T.J. Hawkinson. They were going crazy. I saw T.J. Hawkinson going crazy for you. Shout out to you and Mike Evans. So yeah, you were having a great week. You also benched Josh Reynolds, who was a bench warmer of the week, along with Russell Wilson, and Kyle benched Miles Sanders versus me. I don't know how much it helped.
I have a theory on Kyle in his season so far.
What do you think?
I think Kyle's tanking.
What's up? Oh, no, I don't think. All right, let's get into it. Most efficient manager, Rojo Truther. Least efficient manager was Kyle. Highest points and loss, 144. That was your opponent, actually. Let's see. You also escaped away with the most narrow victory, 160 to 144.9. And so if we look at the overall, Gator J said Rojo smoked me. Yeah, Gator J, I thought you were going to be coming into week 5 undefeated. But as we look into the overall standings, Mia and Gator J are still the top 2 teams, just in terms of overall record and then points. Then you got Rojo Truther. Then you got a collection of 2 and 2 teams. Danny, I see you down here at 6th in the league.
Slowly but surely.
6th in the league. Danny, you're 2 and 2. How are you feeling right now about this squad?
I feel okay. Javonte Williams towards ACL, so my running back depth is a little light right now. Cam Akers is not something I want to hang my hat on. David Montgomery is still out, and that's kind of it for me. So I might be trying to make a trade, maybe give up one of my receivers to some running back depth if I can't pick anything up off waivers, if I can't find a bargain bin shop kind of thing. So we'll see how this week goes, but I feel okay at 2 and 2. I just that hit from Javonte Williams really is a blow to my roster right now.
Yeah, tough. And prayers up to Javonte, man. Hope you get back.
Yeah, it's not about fantasy. It's about him getting healthy.
Yeah, hope you get back healthy pretty soon. I guess in our dynasty league, I'm feeling good about my team, man. I feel real good. I'm sitting here at 4-0. Still just managing to keep by. I'm feeling pretty good about this team. I mean, this combination of Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews is obviously a really, really good connection. So I'm glad I went out and gave up some draft capital to secure that stack. And I also had the Devin Duvernay play too, just just in case, which with Rashad Penny a little banged up, maybe this Devin Duvernay pickup could turn into something. Obviously, the big hit for me was old Jonathan Taylor. Obviously,
Yep.
with my running back duo of Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, definitely takes a hit. Luckily, I had Jamal Williams, so hoping that he can be a pretty solid play. But outside of that, man, I also have Kenny Pickett. He was one of my later picks. I think he's one of my last pick from my last 2 rounds. So looking to see how he develops. It could be interesting next year into the backup quarterback competition on my team between Brady and Pickett. If Brady decides, Brady said this is his last year, so it looks like Kenny Pickett will be taking the Rams as full-time backup quarterback to Lamar Jackson in this league. But I'm feeling good about this team. Obviously, I got a big matchup this week with Gator J.
Yeah.
Can tell you this is going to be this is a really, really big matchup. I mean, between the top two teams, and so really, really, really interested to see how my team stacks up against Gator J, and may the best man win. I mean, this is a good one. You look at the standings. I just passed Gator J in scoring as well by 2 points. So we're right there. And Danny, you're in the National GM Conference. You're sitting over there at 2-2. You're fourth in your division, but I mean it's only 20 points, less than 20 points first place.
Yeah, we right there.
So you're a game behind. You want to shift it over? Oh, shout out to Gator J. He's made the best man win. Shout out to Gator J, man. He's great. He's the homie. Pulls up to every show. Shout out to Gator J. Danny, let's shift over to our redraft league.
Let's do it.
So this league obviously is a little bit more spicy.
Yes.
Just in terms of everything. So I won a big one this week in a big fashion. Scored the most points at 149 to get myself back to 500 at 2-2, and now I'm sitting at I'm tied for second in the NFC, but I'm really sitting at third behind you and another manager who is 3-1. Shout out to Zorian. Danny, how you feeling about your team, man? Coming up
a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago when I was 0-2. You advised me to hold. I was willing to trade Derrick Henry, and you said, "Hold on." You were right. Derrick Henry has come. Pause. Derrick Henry is who he's supposed to be. I'm still tweaking my flex positions. This week, I kept Amari Cooper in when I should have put in Josh Jacobs. So I got to get better. Like my starters are set. I just need to start looking for the better matchups on the flex side of the house.
I mean, I've been keeping up with your team, and I was like, okay, I see it. I'm impressed with the real competition in the NFC. I mean, I was speaking to it earlier in the in the commissioner's report. I mean, we have 3 teams? We have 4 teams who are at 500 or better in our division. So while the AFC may be top heavy with 2 of the top 3 teams, I mean, we're right there, and it's really competitive. I think as the season goes on, the NFC is going to be really competitive. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling better about my team. I think as we get healthy, we'll only continue to elevate. Obviously, I built my team around Justin Herbert and Justin Jefferson, so my team is kind of wide receiver U over here. So for me, it's just kind of figuring out, with Justin Jefferson at wide receiver 1, I have Chris Godwin now, who seems healthy. I got Keenan Allen, who's been nicked up, but sounds like he may be coming back. And I also have Chris Olave. So my wide receiver room is pretty stacked, but obviously with 4 wide receivers, I can't play them all. So maybe flipping one of these wide receivers to get some running back depth might be a thing. I had a thought, and I don't know if I want to make this a weekly play, but I also have Gerald Everett at the tight end position. I picked him up off of waivers, knowing that I have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Is the Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, Gerald Everett triple stack really worth it, like as a weekly starter? I think when healthy, right? So let's say I try to, because I'm thinking about trading either Chris Godwin or Chris Olave. Say I trade one of them, and I keep Keenan Allen, obviously, to keep the stack with Justin Herbert going. Is the Herbert, Everett, Allen triple stack a fair play?
Well, how many targets does Everett get?
I mean, so far this season, he's had 26 targets, 16 receptions, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay, so it's this week 4.
Yep.
So he averages
Mind you,
about.
Keenan Allen has been out since week 1.
Okay, so he's getting about 6 targets a game. So it's either like their red zone threat. I mean, yeah, you get Keenan Allen in the red zone, Austin Eckler in the red zone. I mean, it might be worth it until Keenan Allen comes back in my mind.
But I'm saying when Keenan Allen comes back, is that triple stack a play?
Oh, I don't think so, but don't ask me for fantasy advice because you're going to end up in shambles.
And in context, my other tight end is Pat Fryermuth. So
okay.
I can say between the 5 leagues that I'm in, this league that we're talking about actually might be on in terms of record is my worst team at 2-2. So in my 5 leagues this week, I actually went 5-0. That includes a trio of 4-0 teams and a 3-1 team.
Look at you.
Man.
I went undefeated across all leagues as well. I'm in 4. I am in 1 league where there's no money involved, so I really don't pay attention to it. I'm 1-3 in that league. I picked up my first win. I really don't like I'm worried about the leagues with money in it, which is the dynasty, the redraft, and then I'm in another league with some friends where the money goes to charity. So I really want I'm beating their ass. Like they didn't know what they were doing. They fucked around. Like I'm beating the shit out of everybody. I'm 3-1. Like I lost week 1. Dog. They really
got a good team.
Dog. Let me read out this roster to you. And the scoring is inflated because the GM loves points. Like I scored 200 points last week. Jalen Hurts, Eckler, Joe Mixon, Pittman, AJ Brown, Njoku, Christian Kirk, and then we have a linebacker, a defensive lineman, a defensive back, and then a defensive player, and then a kicker in the defense. Oh, the scoring in this league is absurd.
See, you know what I think happens? I think when I don't know, like when you have those defensive players who be overthinking it, I'm like, yo, build the team the same way. Just go get some defensive players and just incorporate that into it.
Hey, I wouldn't draft it. Like I have every league that there's a defensive player, I've drafted Nick Bosa, and I have not regretted it. Like Nick put the game away for me last night, and I believe I have him in Dynasty.
And not many can rush the passer like he can.
Yeah, like I made the investment in Nick, and Nick kind of like made me. I was able to breathe a little easier because Nick kind of like put me ahead.
Well, my brother, good luck to you in week 5, and let's see how we're feeling next week. I think Gator J, I'm looking forward to our matchup, and may the best man win. And
who do I play this
I can
week?
tell you right now, if I get to, I say what?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I play this week.
Oh, in the Dynasty League?
Yeah.
Well, while you do that, I did want to. We do have a chance because we actually got a question over the week. So we are actually going to do our first ever Speak to Us segment. This person did ask to remain anonymous, and I will respect their anonymity. So let me get into this question. It said, with all the speculation with the Lakers potentially trading Russell Westbrook this summer and ultimately deciding to bring him back and instead let Russ be Russ, along with the same for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, West ultimately came out and said he's all in on whatever it takes for this team to win. So I want to ask both you, D, and Danny, as much praise that we give athletes for rings, do you think that the ring appreciation that we show athletes like LeBron, Jordan, Steph, Tom Brady, Kobe, etc., dilute from some of the greatness that great players that don't have rings have the ring success? And if yes, with some of the Hall of Fames being political sometimes, how can we properly show these greats their proper just due, even without the rings that they have to showcase it?
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
That's a great question. So, yes, I think ring culture has extremely diluted how we view greatness and measure greatness. I've talked about this multiple times on TNT. One of the most frustrating things is when Shaq and Charles are having a disagreement, and Charles makes an excellent point. Shaq's comeback is always, well, I got the rings. I'm G14 classified. And that kind of shuts the argument down there, even though a lot of the times Charles makes a great point. And Charles could be right, or he is right, right? And again, I'm using Charles as a main example because Charles is in the line. A lot of people know Charles as a media person, not as a basketball player. Like Charles was a monster. Like Charles led the Suns to the finals where he met Jordan and lost. And he was always in the running to get to the finals when he was, I mean, but didn't he make it to the finals with the Sixers his rookie year? Like I think that was Moses.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, like Charles was that dude, right? Like if there was no Jordan, like we can make the argument that Charles might have multiple rings, right? The I think a lot of people say Hakeem Olajuwon doesn't catch it right because Jordan left. Hakeem won two in a row, kind of cemented himself. Like we disrespect Patrick Ewing, we disrespect Stockton, and you talk about political, but we disrespect Malone. Malone was a beast on the court. There's a whole generation of basketball players. Their only crime was playing at the same time as Jordan, and they don't get the same respect as Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And I would take it a step further. There's a whole generation of football players, great football players, who don't get the respect they deserve, particularly at the quarterback position, or just
Yeah,
team wise in general. Don't get the respect they deserve because Tom Brady is playing quarterback when he's playing quarterback, and not only just Tom Brady, with New England Patriots and Tom
yeah,
Brady were a conformed team when they were. I mean, a lot of people think it was just it's just all Brady, and I'm like, okay, yes, he's obviously a very he's an exceptional quarterback, one of the greatest of all time. But you have to understand that the influence Bill Belichick has on the defense and being able to completely trust Tom Brady and the offense to do what they do and being able to completely focus on the defense and how to completely shut down opposing offenses. Y'all don't realize how impressive that is, and that's why that partnership was so incredible.
yeah.
Bill Belichick is a defensive minded coach, and so I think a lot of those great teams that they played, like the Ravens, could have more championships during that time. You think about it, the 49ers may in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form may have had a chance to win more. We obviously saw the Legion of Boom. So I mean, there's a lot of the Packers. Who knows? The Packers maybe could have had.
The
Uh,
Eagles
the
in
Eagles could have.
'04
So
or 05.
the Chargers, of all those great Chargers teams, the
Yeah.
Colts. I mean, like, think of so many great teams that really could have had more rings, but it was just because of the success that the Patriots had. Same with the Spurs. A lot of like Kobe. Same with if Kobe and the Lakers and the Spurs were in the ring in basketball during those 2000s. I mean, we don't know how many great players would have more rings. Same with the
I mean,
90s.
Dwight Howard would have a ring,
Yeah. So,
or he would
uh,
have a ring with the Magic.
and I don't even want to go into modern times and how many great teams and players don't have rings right now because of LeBron James and Steph Curry
Yeah.
and those two. And so I think that we need to just continue to really appreciate these legends, really appreciate these greats while we have them. I think when you see these legends and they're utilizing their own platforms to speak to their experiences, we need to show it more love. I love hearing about retired players and their knowledge of the game and their perspective. To your point on Shaq and Kenny, I think at that core, that's always a joke. I get annoyed by it sometimes. But I think if you listen to the basketball brain and Chuck, you definitely hear how much knowledge and just love that
Yeah.
he has for the sport. And all of them, between Shaq and Chuck and Kenny, you can tell that they know basketball at a very high level. And so
Yeah.
the analysis that they're given is one that we should embrace. And yeah, great question. Great
Great
question.
question.
And that will be the last one. So make sure you guys send us your questions. It's speakonitpod14 at Gmail. Speak to us. We want to make sure we do something like that every week. Send your name and question. Let us know if you want to be anonymous or not. And then we'll make sure we answer it. Off subject, Jamie says, but look up Nick Foles' Eagles Super Bowl song. by Boy Pierce. Love it, Jamie. Keep on with these Eagles rap songs since Danny said that would only be a DC thing. Let me tell you something. Y'all NFC East rivals are so funny because it's like, yo, at one point, all y'all had y'all's heyday. And now all four of y'all are really trying to get back to those heyday. And every time one of y'all thinks y'all have a good team, y'all just run into a team on the outside of that division that just spanks you like a bad newborn baby or something. Well, maybe not newborn baby, like a bad toddler.
Jamie, you've made your point.
Danny, anything else, man? We covered a lot, man.
Yeah, tonight was fun. That's it for me. Jamie, like I said, you made your point, but I stand on what I said. The Washington Commanders are in the gutter. It's a gutter franchise. And that's where they deserve to be.
You think so?
Yes. As long as Dan Snyder is the owner, that's exactly where they deserve to be, in the gutter.
Okay. Why don't you let do you be seeing the videos of FedEx? I was trying not to talk about it because I don't want to be rude, but do you be seeing the videos of FedEx?
Yes, I be seeing the videos. Let me tell you something. Every year when we have to play in DC, I get afraid. That is the worst field in football. Like, there's an area of that field, and I forgot, it was on Twitter like a year or two ago, where someone just highlighted the number of people that tore their ACL in like a certain area of that field. It's the same spot RG3 tore his ACL, and it's, I believe it might have been the same spot Chase Young blew his knee. Like, that field is garbage. That stadium is garbage. That franchise is garbage. Like, they're the doormat of the NFC East.
You're not impressed by the Washington Commanders?
The only thing that's impressive about them is Ron Rivera, Chase Young, and Deron Payne. That's it. And Scary Terry. My bad, Terry. Terry's that dude.
John Dotson, too.
Shout out. Yeah.
Former Hokie Logan Thomas, too.
No, thank you. Pass on that.
All right, guys. Make sure you follow us at @SpeakOnIt_pod on Twitter, on Instagram. Make sure you're following us on YouTube as well. Hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're commenting, showing us love. Send us your question, guys. That was a great question. Initial question to kick off the Speak to Us segment. Speak on it, pod14@gmail. Shout out Gator J. Shout out Jamie for pulling up. Shout out all the love we've been getting, man. I see you guys showing love in the comments of all the socials. So I appreciate you guys just showing love. 75 episodes, been loving every episode. Only up from here. Make sure you follow me at LosDemix. It's LOSDEEMIX on Instagram, on Twitter. Make sure you follow Danny Ocean at Danny Ocean 41 as well. Danny, is there anything else before we get up out of here?
Shout out to Garrison for coming through. It's been a long time. Good to see you, friend.
Shout out some more. Shout out Garrison. All right, I'm gonna get us out here to a song. I've been listening to this song a lot. This is a song by Tory Lanez. It's called "This Ain't Working."
Oh, not Tory Lanez.
He got a trial coming up, so it might be the last time I hear any music from him.
I'm about to say, not Mr. Shooter.
We don't know yet. Could be though.
Y'all have a good one.
Shout out to the people. Yes, sir.